Hello everyone, welcome to Bargain Gaming, where we can play excellent games without busting our wallets. This is episode 275 of Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition. So we have finished the mission for the synth retention. So we're being asked to go back to Father. So this is our first time traveling back to the Institute. The first time we traveled out, we still have the special effects of all those electricity going off around us. Anyway, what I did was I gathered all the supplies we picked up in the Libertalia.
We're about to get a new food
Right here is
3 levels of approval. Do you believe that? 3!
okay.
Your presence here is a great gift, not just to Father.
Hi.
I have a variety of items that should prove useful in your surface missions.
Okay.
What can I requisition?
I have access to a modest selection of arms, armor, and other items approved for use in field missions.
I'll take a look. Sure.
Okay. What we want. What's this one again? 25% faster fire rate. Not really that exciting. Fast firing just means fast usage of what do you call it? Of ammunition. This is 1823. Enemies have a harder time detecting you. Okay, this is 1823. What's a heavy synth? Wow, this is good. And this is agility and perception. Huh. We can get these. Wow, they cost an arm and a leg. Grants increasingly energy and okay. Increases action point refresh speed. Those are actually all good, right? But wow, they cost a lot of money. Okay, what we really want is this. This chest piece. Synth arm and synth leg. These are heavy ones. I think this one we can... Okay, we are short 596. We want... I think we want to give this to okay, let's do the transaction first. How about ammunition? Rad X, rad away. How about ammo? Okay, we can buy more fusion cells. Do we want this? Rad away. We want the rad away because what's addictol? Oh, we can make this ourselves. Let's just sell the water. So 2,000. Okay, and we picked up 3 items. Okay, we can improve those. Left arm, right leg. So we need just right arm, left leg. Okay. Now we go up and talk to... No, we're supposed to talk to... Where's Father? Father's over here. Okay, let's just go up here. Where are the stairs leading up? Oh, we want to go up. We want to go up. Okay, this is not the. What is this place? No, we want to go up. Wow, their elevators have no walls. Yeah, there are no walls to this elevator.
I'm glad to see you return safely. I know the task was difficult, but I needed you to see firsthand how dangerous a rogue synth can be.
Why do you care what happens on the surface? You're in your own world down here.
Because there are forces on the surface that could pose a threat to us, and only a fool ignores a possible threat. We might diminish that danger by correcting the false perception that we intend some great harm to mankind. But enough about that. The task is done, and you've returned our synth safely to us. I couldn't have hoped for a better outcome. Well done. While you were away, I had quarters prepared for you. You'll find all the basic necessities, as well as a generous stock of arms and equipment. Go and have a look. I think you'll be quite pleased.
Wow, this is, this is actually amazing. This old man who claims to be our son, even if he is our son, he is very smart, and we should not forget that. This is his quarters, right? So where are our quarters? I think our quarters are downstairs. So what he has done is he has sent us on a mission, and in essence he is showing us that the railroad people
It must make you proud to see
are
what
actually
he has done.
foolish
All that he has built.
in what they have actually done. In other words, they have in rescuing a runaway synth. So where's in rescuing a runaway synth and giving it a new identity.
A code red.
What? This is the third time in 2 weeks. This is unacceptable.
He has actually become a rogue human being
Looking into it.
and has caused a lot of harm to
In the meantime, tell the others to be on high alert.
to the upside world, to the people on the surface.
Right away.
And
If you see anything even remotely suspicious, report it immediately. This absolutely cannot happen again.
no, this is not
Yes,
it.
sir.
Where are? So in other words,
Try to remember
being
these
this
things aren't
Sometimes Quentin is really mean to me, but
is this our
my
quarter?
mom says I have to be nice anyway.
Hi there.
I've heard stories, and the surface sure sounds scary.
You know, I love my work, but I love being a father.
Yeah.
We're still looking for our quarters. We can't find it. Not here. Okay, so in other words, the institute itself is not bad, and that the synthetics, if they are not given the proper guidance, can turn into very dangerous beings. So that means what the institute is doing is not really bad at all, and so we need so the perception is that people who don't know what they're
Your new quarters are here, ma'am.
okay.
When you're finished here, ma'am, Father wants to see you.
So this is what's so interesting. So this is actually a good example of psychological warfare. And also in a way there's some truth to what the father is saying. The synth, the institute is not bad. They're doing the best they can. And of course, other people will have different opinions of us. Also, he has given us fusion cells, stim packs, and an institute rifle and an institute jumper. And so those are the things that so he is not afraid, in other words, to give us. I wonder what does an institute jumper. Can we? Let's see if we can modify it, because turn it using a ballistic weave. So in other words, the institute itself is not bad. Wait, this is our quarters, right? Wow, this is actually, and we have our own deck. Huh. Right, and so if we just jump down here, so that is our, so this time, with the time is where our, let's just do a quick check. So the institute is not bad. A lot of people have, of course, their opinion about the institute, and they are incorrect in their thinking. So we're on the 3rd floor, okay. And what do you call this? Bleeding heart people like the railroad have actually caused major harm when they reprogrammed the an escapee synth, which turned out reprogrammed it, and I don't know how they reprogrammed it, but it turned out into a very dangerous. Remember, it's a very smart synth to start with, so when they was given the wrong kind of personality, it turned into the wrong kind of person, and created so much harm in the world upside. So
Nice work bringing that rogue synth back.
So in other words, the institute is, again, good or bad, it is trying to do the best it can. As everybody else is, as the what do you call this? The Brotherhood of Steel. Brotherhood of Steel is actually a lot more dangerous, because they are insisting on confiscating all the technology available and bringing it into their own organization, and they're taking it. They're not just stealing it; they're taking everything. And then the railroad, apparently, their judgment is not exactly very good, as we just saw in Libertalia. And then the Minuteman is the only one that has the concept of democracy. But the downside of being in a democratic environment, it's well and good if the world is kind of bit settled. But in a harsh environment like we are seeing right now, again, it needs somebody like us, which has a very strong hand. That is why we got the Minuteman going again. Without us in being the center, doing all of this stuff, improving the settlements, setting up settlements, building up fortifications for the settlement, we are the ones doing it. It's like, again, they needed a strong hand, a strong person. And because the world is totally topsy-turvy. Anyway, so this gives a lot of contrast. So this also gives a lot of credibility. Why the institute, although can be from the perspective of an outsider, seems like a very scary boogeyman type organization is well, of course they're also composed of human beings, but if there is a person who can actually run it, like maybe us, for example, and we have the ability to maintain our sanity without going super ego, plus the fact that we have Lorenzo who will keep us immortal. Because again, sometimes like a leader is very good, but then he is only as good as while he is alive. Then when whoever takes over, either a son or a candidate or a substitute or whatever, then the then become despotic and becomes problematic. And as we've seen, like with monarchies or with dictatorships, we have people going bananas. Or so if we can maintain our sanity and we are forever around because we are immortal due to Lorenzo, we can actually forge. The Institute might turn out to be the best faction to win out in this storyline. Anyway, so this Libertalia is actually a very good way that the developers have shown, as a to juxtapose that perspective versus what the surface people think of the Institute. Anyway.
Hello, Mother. Tell me, what would you do when someone has stolen from you?
After everything I've been through to find you, I think you already know.
I'm sorry, Mother. Of course, you're right. The group that calls themselves the Railroad have acquired several synths from the Institute. Synths that had gone missing in recent months. They no doubt mean to free these synths, in their delusion that synths are somehow sentient beings. You've been in contact with the Railroad, so you're aware of their misguided beliefs.
They mean well. They're only doing what they think is right.
You dealt with Libertalia. That's the result of their selfish, short-sighted plan. Usually they are a minor nuisance, but lately they have become more emboldened. I'm afraid we've reached the point where a response is necessary. We have learned the current location of these synths, and need to reacquire them before the Railroad can hide them.
I'm not sure why you'd bother.
Aside from taking back our property, we must teach them a lesson, as it were. And quickly at that. But it's important that we act on this soon, before the Railroad has any indication we've tracked them. We also don't want the Brotherhood of Steel getting wind of the presence of the synths. That would only complicate matters.
Is it just me, or will I have backup?
Of course, sir. We'll be waiting for you outside Bunker Hill. You'll have support should you need it. But we want to keep this small.
Wow, okay, so that is something we have to avoid the Bunker Hill for now. Because, so that means, what is the mission? Optional, the Battle of Bunker Hill. Wow, okay, inside job. Give it to Sturgis? I don't know. So the Battle of Bunker Hill. This is going to progress. So this is one of the reasons why I did not finish my playthrough, my first playthrough, is that the synth for, in appearances and from what we have been feedbacks that we've been getting from the people on the surface, they're the boogeyman and everybody is afraid of them. And we have seen them synth going bonkers and attacking our settlements. And so they might be spies sent by the Institute to disrupt our settlement. So I can understand that. Now I can understand why that's happening. So now we are in a position, we are now at a crossroads, rather, not in a position, we're in a crossroads where we have to make decisions. So there's no particular reason for us at this point in time to side with the railroad. There's no particular reason for us to side with the Brotherhood, because the Brotherhood represents a faction that is very fascistic, meaning they remind me of the German Third Reich, and they consider themselves the Superman, or because they're technologists, but they're actually just collectors of technologies, and they are acquiring them all over the place. That has been the story in Fallout 3, and they continue to have the same story in Las Vegas and here. Although in Vegas, it's a split faction of the Brotherhood of Steel. So the Brotherhood and Railroad are not important for us. What is important for us are the settlements. So right now I am split on to side with the settlement or to side with the Institute. Siding with the settlement means that we will be scrounging all over. We are developing the whole Commonwealth on a grassroots level. Reminds me of the development of the United States during the 1800s and 1700s, when the United States was basically an agricultural society. And that is basically the same thing with our Minutemen organization. We will be the head of that one. So is it better to allow the Commonwealth to develop from the grassroots level, or is it better to actually orchestrate the development of the whole Commonwealth through the centralized dictates of the Institute? So that is something that is still really hard to get our hands around, because it makes sense to as if central control development through the Institute. Look at what we have in the Institute right now. Everything is clean. The development is very good. They are developing synths, robots in essence, to help in the development work so they can tackle all the heavy duty radioactive kind of stuff, and then for the betterment of mankind. There are, of course, it's not the, what do you call this? It's not the utopia that everybody would like to think, because the humans that we've met there's a level of arrogance to them, and they're in their outlook versus the rest of the surface humans, which are considered like barbarians, not understandably. And then they look down on the synths as robots they created as a workforce. Again, there's an elitism in here that we can change if we actually take over the Institute. Those are the things we can change. So those are the negative side, and they can turn into a really bad situation. But if we are strong enough and we can control it, we can negate that. So then we will be dealing with the recovery of the surface with the highest level of technology available.
Remember
Because
to
the
practice good sanitation habits at all times.
because the technology of the Institute, I think, is even more ahead of when the nuclear war ravaged the Earth in 2077. So we are like literally a couple of 100 years, or maybe it's even 300 years ahead of the surface. And so those are the things we can actually bring into the surface. And so right now, I really am torn between the Minutemen and the Institute. So I don't know what to do. So that is the background of a decision that we have to make before we continue the storyline. Because once we continue with the storyline, this will lead down a road that that we cannot get back from. Anyway, so that's the background of the problem our avatar is facing. So we are being forced to come to a decision, and we should decide one soon, because that's the only way that we can get the story to progress. Okay, anyway, our timer just went off, so let me cut the episode right here. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you will join me in the next episode. Bye.